excited to be here with you guys again tonight. This is week 13 of Tuesday Night Talks. I'm Matt Elkin. I'm here with Scott Martin. We are here from West Coast Elite Basketball and Attitude of Gratitude Consulting, and we're really happy to bring you another episode of our talk tonight. It continues to be a challenging time for a lot of players and their families, during this kind of pandemic and not being able to get out there on the road. So we want to continue providing these opportunities for you guys to get to know some great schools, some great coaches, and hopefully kind of inform you guys during some of these challenging times. But before we jump into our first speaker of the night, I just really wanted to quickly share my screen with you all to kind of give you an update on kind of what our schedule looks like moving forward. So with our all academic basketball camps, some of which our guests tonight have attended as well and worked in the past. We do have one camp that's coming up in just a couple weeks in Chicago. It should be a great event. We have a lot of coaches that should be there. We'll be live streaming all of our camps. And then as you can see, we'll be back for a camp in Utah. We'll be in Phoenix. We'll be in the Pacific Northwest on the West Coast, Vegas, California. So we have a great schedule that we're hoping to provide for you guys to get some more exposure to some of these coaches. So if you guys have any questions, definitely please feel free to reach out to myself, Scott, or you can check us out on allacademicbasketball.com. But just really wanted to quickly kind of share that with all you guys. But in the meantime, really, really excited to welcome our first guest of the evening, somebody who I've known for a while and, has done a great job coaching and recruiting and really has been a phenomenal coach in one of the best leagues in the country. Coach Damien Strahorn from Colby College. Coach, welcome to Tuesday Night Talks.
Thanks, Matt. Excited to be here and looking forward to the time in front of us.
Yeah, definitely. You and I have had a chance to talk a lot offline and at various camps that we've been at, but for some of the people here that are on the call that maybe are from the West Coast or maybe are unfamiliar with you and a little bit about your background, if you could just kind of summarize a little bit and tell us a little bit about kind of what led you to where you are now and being the head coach at Colby College.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride, a long journey in many respects. I actually started out there on the West Coast, born and raised, outside of San Francisco. And, I kind of would say that I stumbled into Colby College as a transfer student. And, as a junior college transfer to the NESCAC, it's probably much more of a rarity than anything. But, came in and just fell in love with the place. My junior and senior year, had a phenomenal experience playing in a great program, played for a coach that was at Colby for 40 years. And, it's kind of, when I look back on it, in my 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, over those 8 seasons, I played for 7 different head coaches. And so I felt like as I moved through that journey and kind of trying to find the right college for me, I learned a lot of maybe what not to do. And it wasn't really until I got to Colby where I felt like I had a coach that was just a phenomenal leader, a program, a mentor. And it really sort of got me to want to coach at the college level and begin my professional career. And 4 years as an assistant at Colby, 4 years down at Columbia University in the Ivy League, which was a fantastic, experience. And then 1 year at Plymouth State before Coach Whitmore retired and had a chance and an opportunity to come back to Colby. And the last 9 years have gone by in a blink of an eye. But it's been a lot of fun for me, and I feel very fortunate to be where I'm at and to be with the young men that I'm around every day.
Definitely. Yeah, no, great story, and coming from the West Coast, like you said, and now you're in the great state of Maine, and hopefully there's some kids on this call that are interested in doing the same. And, one of those big reasons for that is the kind of the institution that you're working at and what a great academic university it is and all the things that it offers from an academic perspective. So tell us a little bit about Colby, kind of the academic profile of a school such as yours.
Yeah, it's, again, fortunate in the sense, world-renowned institution, and obviously when you look at the NESCAC and all 11 schools, it's just a great league. And when you look at the NESCACs and you look at the Ivies, you're talking about the best of the best when it comes to academics. And, it really, I think, fits sort of what is important to me and kind of what I value. And that's kind of the balance between, academics and athletics, and how those really work together, and how those work together to help push young people forward and help them grow and develop in just some incredible ways, and be able to be a part of that experience is something that kind of keeps me young, I would say. And when you look at people that are choosing between those schools, it's hard to go wrong in some respects. But I think kind of the more you are able to go through that process and really kind of figure out what is most important to you, what are you looking for? There's some differentiating factors that I think each school offers, and it allows us to coach just fantastic young men. And be around great people, and as I mentioned, it's a lot of fun to see them grow and evolve, over that 4-year period. And most importantly, what they go on to do, it boggles your mind sometimes. Kind of what pathways and opportunities are opened up as they move through their 4 years at a place like Colby, and to see them go on to do those things, it's very rewarding.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll get into that a little bit more in terms of what some of your guys are doing, especially once they graduate, because I know that's, something that a lot of the players and parents are really interested to hear about. But before we dive more into that, you touched on the academic part a little bit. Now tell us a little bit about the basketball side of things. Tell us a little bit about your program, about some of the success that you've had recently, and also kind of about the league that you guys compete in and how competitive that is in the NESCAC.
Yeah, I think it starts right there with the league. I think you can make an argument that it's as good a Division III conference in the country, right up there with probably a couple of the other top leagues. And so, night in, night out, it makes it a ton of fun to compete at that level. And I think the NESCAC is great, in the sense that, we play each team once. Any night, anybody can beat anybody. And it really, I think, just the competitiveness that exists there is special. I think when I look back over the last 9 years, it's certainly been a process in building the program. And, I think we were able to bring in a first recruiting class that came in and took over a team and program that probably had, fallen off from where Colby was for decades. And, we have such a great history. I mentioned Coach Whitmore and, the 600 plus wins that he had, and through the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, just some of the very best teams at Colby and across the country. And to try to get back to that level was always the main goal, and what we wanted to strive to go out and accomplish. And I think that through the last 9 years, and through a couple big recruiting classes that we brought in, that first cycle that graduated in 2016, and actually this last class that graduated this past spring, really allowed us to get back to that level. And this past season, we're coming off of a great year. Got to as high as number 5 in the country, which was a lot of fun to compete at that in that way, and sort of get off to an 18-0 start. Had our best season in NESCAC, and we're able to kind of share for a tie of the regular season title with Tufts, and went into the NESCAC tournament, made it to the championship game for the first time since in Colby's history, and unfortunately came out on the short end of that one, and a double overtime heartbreaker for us. But all along the way, it was a group of young men that had built this, especially over the last couple of years, and kind of how we evolved our approach, and kind of some of the things that we wanted to tweak and adjust, and things that we felt like we needed to do to get to that level. And it was incredibly rewarding to see sort of their hard work, pay off to that level, and to be able to get back to the NCAA tournament, and first time since 1997 that Colby was, involved in that national tournament, and that was ultimately what we wanted to go after, and so I think we were able to kind of see that come together. See the steps that we sort of put in place to try to help push our guys and grow it to that level, and excited to sort of continue with the next iteration of it, and this upcoming year, I think we're all still waiting to sort of figure out what that's going to look like from a schedule standpoint and timing standpoint, but the groups ahead, I think, are going to hopefully be the group that finally gets us to that championship level and make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. And we're hungry to get back in the gym and continue in that journey.
Definitely. Yeah. I think that that sentiment echoes across everybody on this call, very hungry to get back in the gym, especially when, probably feeling like you left some unfinished business on the table after last season and wanting to be eager to get back into it for sure. So, no, that's exciting. And you've had a ton of success recently. So we're really happy for you guys, and hopefully that'll continue going. I'm going to toss it over to Scotty, and Scotty will have a few more questions for you, Coach Scott.
Coach, first of all, thank you for coming on tonight. I really, really appreciate it. The first question is more on the academic side. Can you talk about the 414 academic calendar that Colby has?
Yeah, it's I think one that really works for us, and especially for our winter athletes. What that means is we have a fall semester where typically our students are taking 4 classes. We move through the January term, which is the 1 month, 1 class term, which really begins to be the busy part of our season when you look at the conference starting to play and kind of kind of how that shakes out. And so it's a really nice balance because the academic workload really lightens up kind of in that month. But it also keeps our students on campus over that month. And I think some of our peers, don't have that. Some of the other Division III institutions where, the students don't come back till late January. And so you have the athletes that are kind of there on their own and no one is really around. So I think, it has a couple of real positives that really help our students balance the academic athletic scope. As we finish that January term, our second semester usually starts in that first week of February. And so now we're back into a 4-class structure in most semesters for our guys. And, that usually is the tail end of our NESCAC season, moving into the NESCAC tournament, moving into the, hopefully into the NCAA and postseason. And so what happens is it really spreads out sort of the overlap for when our guys are taking classes. And, there's times where I feel badly for, fall athletes, they get to campus for the first time and they're in classes for the first time and their seasons are starting right away, and it puts a different type of stress on them. So it's something that I think we really talk a lot about how it helps our guys be successful in the classroom and really be able to juggle that workload.
No, it seems like it makes it ebb and flow a little bit, gives the guys a kind of eases them into it and keeps them kind of consistent, which is really, really cool from looking into it today. The other thing was Colby's a top 15 national liberal arts college, and it's also a top 15 value school, which I think these are the best rankings I've seen out of any school on any week we've had. Can you talk about the value in the education and the value for your dollar?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the end of the day, what all young people are looking for through the college process is trying to open up the doors and opportunities. And, I think that, there are a lot of places that can happen from, but for us at Colby, I think we have probably one of the strongest financial aid programs in the entire country. And when you look at sort of what our president, David Green, who joined us 5 years ago, I think it is now, just brought a huge aspiration and vision for Colby, wanting to take a place that's always been special, but saying, hey, how can we be unafraid of challenging things and pushing it to a whole new height? And it's been a lot of fun to see the things that he's put into place. The financial aid piece is a huge part. That ties back into an $850 million capital campaign that we're currently in, which is the largest capital campaign ever taken on by a liberal arts college in the country. When you look at sort of the investment in people, and I think one of the best parts about Colby is the relationships and the connections that you develop, and it's something that lasts the test of time. And I see that through our basketball alumni group, which is probably one of the most involved and connected group with Coach Whitmore that was there for 40 years, and really extends all the way through our community, our Colby community at large. And one of the ways that really showed when you talk about a leadership position from a college and an institution, when this pandemic hit, back in March, one of the things President Green sort of came up with was a Pay It Northward campaign, which actually was an effort to engage the 20,000 Colby alumni, friends, families, and just that whole group to say, we have 200 of our college graduates this spring that know what they're going to be doing going forward in the fall or whenever the first professional opportunities we're going to start. But we have 300 that don't. And, when you look at the historical data and going back to some of the, the Great Depression and some of the other really sort of challenged times financially for college graduates coming into that workforce, there's a huge sort of ceiling on sort of what they're able to get to based off what they've started from. And so he was able to really, again, engage with that Colby community and take on this initiative to say, hey, we're going to make sure that each and every one of our 500 graduating seniors are going to have a fantastic opportunity, even in this very difficult environment that we're currently in. And the sort of the response to that was phenomenal. And I think, again, it speaks to how important the people are that you're with. And, that to me really ties into sort of the value piece that you're speaking to, there. And so, it's been a lot of fun to kind of see those pieces tie together. And, when you look at the academic rankings and sort of what that is in terms of, top 15, I think his goal is to get into that top 10, and hopefully we're ascending to that level soon. And you couple it with the value piece. It's a win-win for everybody.
Currently number 11, so we're getting real close.
Exactly right.
What kind of aid do you guys offer? Is it academic? Is it need-based? Is it both?
So yeah, all of our financial aid is need-based. So there's no merit scholarships. There's no athletic scholarships. Obviously, it's a Division III institution. So it's all need-based aid. I think, again, there's been some articles written, and sort of when you look at it, Colby is, again, packaging our financial aid as aggressively and as robustly as probably just about any school in the country. It ties back again to the financial resources that we do have and the capital campaign that I talked about earlier. For years, probably the middle class family was the one that was really squeezed. And I saw that probably both at my time at Columbia and coaching in the Ivy League and certainly here at Colby and the NESCAC. And, we had a really fantastic gift 2 years ago that allowed us to sort of create what we call the Fair Shot Fund. And essentially, families that made up to $65,000, were coming to Colby, without paying anything from the family side. Essentially, it was a full scholarship, grant, however you want to call it. It was essentially free money for those families. We went away from loans about 5 years ago, so there's no loans to our financial aid package. It's all grant money, which I think is phenomenal and again unique when you compare us to a lot of our other schools. But this last gift 2 years ago sort of targeted the middle class family, and essentially from that $65,000 number all the way up to $150,000. So a family that's combined income is $150,000. Colby's going to cap the family contribution at 10%. And so it really is sort of much more in line with kind of the Yales and Harvards and Princetons of the world, and kind of how they approach their ability to financially package people, and really is, I think, expanded and opened up to our sort of recruiting opportunity to go after some middle class families that in the past it was really hard because they didn't make enough money to be able to kind of write the check that they had to, and they made too much to really receive significant aid.
No, I can definitely see that. I mean, I went to a private school and I came out with the eye-popping loans, and I know it's not a fun process. So if you can come out of it with 10% of what I came out with, I mean, it's a good deal. Can you talk about how close the competition level is, or when it comes to recruiting between the Ivy League and the NESCAC? Yeah,
I mean, it's when I look at the best players on our team, and certainly the best players I would say in our league, those guys could play at that Ivy League level. And when you look at trying to build a championship level program, you need guys that are in that mix, in that conversation. And, I often say, that player for us, we had a kid last year, Sam Jefferson, that I think had one of the best seasons I've ever seen and heard of. He was shooting 60% from the floor, 50% from three, and 90% from the foul line. So a 60, 50, 90 guy. I mean, that just, again, it blows my mind. And, would he be a sort of a practice player in an Ivy League school? Would he be a rotation guy that maybe comes off the bench? Would you ever sort of get a chance to evolve into a starter? That's hard to predict. But I think when you look at the best of the best, they're right there in that mix. And, what we're looking for is some guys that, have the ability to be considered to play at that level. But again, maybe, have priorities that bring them back to us, and that could be sort of the balance that they're looking for between the academics and athletics. It could be a chance to maybe come in and have a more immediate impact. And we've seen that, I think, fortunately for us in the last 2 years with back-to-back NESCAC rookies of the year, and two guys in Will King this past season from Chicago, Illinois, and Noah Tyson from Rutland, Vermont, that we're able to come in and start right away from day one, and really play a key role in driving us to where we are playing with anybody, and competing at that championship level. And so we're all searching for it. And I would say the other piece I would add to that is being able to get outside of kind of the New England Northeast region, and the Ivy League prospect camps are fantastic resources for us. The downside is that every NESCAC school is there, and all the best of the academic schools, and we're searching for the same person. And we've really believed and felt that if we could get out of region and try to target some pockets in the country where we get one or two guys that come in a class that maybe don't know what the NESCAC is, unfamiliar with kind of the other schools in our league, but we're able to sort of make a connection with and really begin to speak to them about the opportunity at Colby from the educational standpoint and the degree that they're going to have a chance to have access to, coupled with the athletics program and kind of where we're going as a college, and trying to really rise across our department, and to become one of the best, certainly in NESCAC, but competing on a national level, and guys that want to be sort of the catalyst of driving that, and sort of creating that and bringing it to life. And so if we can pull some guys that are maybe have learned about Colby, and it's been a lot of fun in the last 2 years. We've actually had 4 guys that have committed and decided to apply and have gotten into Colby without ever setting foot on campus until after they were accepted. And it kind of brings me back to my time and how I ended up at Colby, and it was the same sort of way. And again, just fortunate that it worked out. But
can you talk about Colby on the court, defensively and offensively, and what kind of players you look for at these camps? What skills and attributes that you really hold in high regard when it comes to recruitment?
Yeah, for me, it really was a sort of a process, and going back to building our identity. And what did we want Colby basketball? What was that identity? And I think in order to do that, and this is kind of something that I think we had to do 4 years ago, was maybe 5 years ago, was what was our best path to competing at a championship level in NESCAC, and really kind of what we sort of thought and in some respects took a risk on was being unafraid of not being traditional. And I think when you look at Colby in the last 4 years, but really in 3 and more recently, our admissions numbers have gone through the roof. It again all ties back to President Green's vision and sort of the energy and excitement that he's brought to it. For decades, Colby would average about 5,500 applications per admission cycle. And President Green, one of the first things he said when he got on campus was, we got to get that number over 10,000. And I think everyone looked at him like, how are you doing that? And we had a new dean of admissions director that came in from Stanford, really again sort of understood sort of how athletics, the role and the important role it plays at a place like Colby. And we're now over 14,000 applications. And so our admit rate is now below 10%. Colby is probably one of the top 5 hardest schools in the country. It's crazy when you're thinking about kind of the actual numbers that we're talking about. It's exciting from that perspective. But what it led us to sort of believe in building our identity was really shifting and being much less worried about size. Just saying, hey, we want to be skilled. We're probably going to be more perimeter oriented because there's not a lot of 6'8", 6'9" guys out there. And when you look at 6'8", 6'9" guys that have to have 1450 on their SATs, that number shrinks even more. And when you look at the ones that have those grades but are also skilled and athletic, oftentimes they're going to the Ivy League. And so we really felt like our best path to competing at a championship in the NESCAC was to be more perimeter oriented and to use the 3-point line. And over the last couple of years, we've been one of probably the most efficient scoring teams in the country, and usually the 3-point shot has been a big part of that. Ability to play with pace and get up and down the floor. beginning to put pressure on the defense and trying to, force them to sort of answer some tough questions. It's kind of how it's unfolded for us. And it's been a lot of fun to kind of see that really sort of solidify and certainly the success behind it in the last couple of years, I think is again sort of proved that was the right path for us to take. And, again, I give, all the credit to our guys that worked to create that. And it's been a lot of fun to see it happen.
Coach, we need you to come to California where the best shooters in the country reside. And there's a little program called West Coast Elite with some of the best high academic kids in the country. We need to get that bridge built.
We can. I think we can do that, and I'm excited for that challenge and opportunity.
Yeah, I was looking at your roster. A little East Coast. We need some West Coast flavor in there.
We early on we were able to get 3 guys from California, and kind of got away from it a little bit in the last couple of years. But coming out there to your guys' events, and certainly California's just got such a strong tradition. Southern California, Northern California, and we'll take guys from anywhere, that can play and sort of fit what we do. But that'd be awesome.
I love it. And how's the alumni network? How's the job placement? How does when kids exit the program?
Yeah, no, I think that's again something that I feel is as confident about what we offer, and it again ties into Coach Whitmore, who was at Colby for 40 years. We have a tremendously strong basketball alumni group because of the experiences that we all had, and we have a great opportunity every Final Four weekend. As you guys know, there's a huge coaches convention wherever the Final Four is, and we actually now have a group of 25 Colby basketball alumni that get together every weekend, every Final Four, every year, wherever it is. And there's a couple of us that are in the coaching business. This past year, it was going to be Coach Whitmore's 50th consecutive Final Four in Atlanta. And so we kind of started a campaign where it was going to be 50 guys for Whit's 50th. And we were up over 65 getting ready to head down to Georgia and spend 3 days together. It's something that we always look forward to, because you look back 70s, 80s, 90s, it doesn't matter. The experiences and how strong those relationships and friendships are, and how much they were really founded in the gym and sort of working together to sort of rise to that championship level. Those guys, when they look at the successes they've had in business, that's what they tie it back to, and it's something that is as strong as I think any probably school in the country can offer, and one that we rely on incredibly for our players. And it really goes beyond just the basketball alumni network, but it ties into sort of the overall community. I mentioned the Pay It Northward campaign earlier. When you leave Colby, you're going to have a chance to take whatever passions and pursuits that you wanted to go after, and make those come to life through internship opportunities in the summers, through mentorship opportunities that we do with our alumni guys. And, when you look at the outside experiences on top of the classroom, and President Green sort of initiated that when he first got to Colby, again, with, wanting to guarantee that every student has an opportunity for an internship, a research opportunity with a faculty member, and an opportunity and an experience to travel globally. And sort of that those 3 pillars really round out what the in-classroom education experience is. And I think, again, it prepares our graduates to go anywhere and to do anything, and to do it at the highest of levels.
Yeah, you guys, amazing alumni network. I actually have an inside view of your little Coach Whitmore crew, having worked for Coach McLaughlin. And so I'm very familiar with the little group that you guys have every year at the Final Four. So it's an awesome connection that you guys all have. But I wanted to just real quick, we only have a couple more minutes here, Coach, but you mentioned growing up in Northern California, just outside the San Francisco area. And, we have a lot of people in our program for West Coast Elite, but also just in general, people that are on this call that are from the West Coast. So what was that transition like for you, going from coast to coast? What were some of the things that attracted you about that? And maybe what was one thing that was challenging that you could advise kids that might be interested in making that same transition to try to help them in, being more comfortable so far from home?
Yeah, for me, it kind of started with wanting to experience something new. And so, kind of the idea of leaving California and kind of coming to New England was something I was really excited about. I was fortunate. I had an aunt and uncle that lived outside of Boston. So there was kind of a local presence there. And, the best, or one of the best parts about being an athlete, I think at a college, and certainly a college like Colby, is, when you leave from a place like California and travel 3,000 miles to a place that you've never been to before in your life. There was a group of young men that took me in and, really connected and allowed me to sort of have that, that group to sort of show me the way. I think it's one of the great things about sports that exists. And so, I think it's about finding the right sort of set of criteria in terms of what's important to a student. When you look at education, Colby's got that. When you look at playing at the highest level of Division III, we've got that. I think when you look at the people and the other sort of initiatives that are currently going on, you're coming to a place that's going to be even better when you graduate than what it is when you walked in there and you have a chance to really make that happen. And so, I think the piece of advice that I would give now, back then in 2000, the internet was much more limited in the dial-up and kind of the slowness of what that was. You can now jump on the websites and get some pretty amazing insight as to what places are. The ability to email 500 coaches at the push of a button. I think you have a chance to really dig into what's most important to you and find those places that really fit that, and then now be able to sort of strategically reach out to those places and try to see if maybe you'd be a great fit for them. And I think ultimately that's what I've seen, people be able to maybe have more access to what these opportunities are because there's just better education. And part of that's the education that you guys are doing, with these young men and trying to help them, not just, what's going to be the place that's going to be the big wow, like, oh, that's where you're going, but like, what's going to be the best place for you and what's going to be the best place for your long-term, future. And certainly the basketball piece is a big part of that, but there's so much more that goes into it. And so, being able to have high school coaches, AAU coaches, and others that can really help sort of, guide them, I think is a really important piece to the puzzle.
Definitely. Well, you always have a home here back on the West Coast. If you ever want to come back, like Scotty said, we're going to build that bridge coast to coast, fast track up to Maine. And, we have one more minute here, Coach, with you. So is there anything that we didn't get a chance to talk about or touch on that you wanted to say before we wrap things up?
No, just again, thank you for having me on. I'm sure over the 13 weeks, a number of great coaches, great programs that have been on, and it's an honor to be able to be here and spend the time. Certainly for those folks that are interested in Colby, we'd love to be able to talk about what the opportunities are and kind of see where that goes. I'd love to get back out to the West Coast and work on building that bridge. On Monday, we're moving into a brand new $200 million athletic facility.
Wow.
And so it's going to be day one, and it's going to be probably as incredible a facility that exists in the country. Even not just Division III, but when you look at it and, being able to find the group of young men to come in here and help take us to that championship level is what we're excited about continuing to pursue. And again, I appreciate the time, guys. And, I know we'll be in touch.
Yeah, definitely.
Appreciate it, Coach.
We really appreciate you, Coach. If anybody has more questions for Coach, his email is down below in the chat box, but feel free to reach out to him. And we look forward to seeing you again on the West Coast or somewhere else very soon. Please stay safe and have a good rest of the night. We'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a great night.
Appreciate it.
Good to see you, Coach. We'd love to introduce our second speaker of the evening, Coach BJ Dunne from Gettysburg. Coach, welcome to Tuesday Night Talks.
Hey, thanks, Matt. I'm excited to be here. Appreciate you guys taking some time out of your Tuesday night to spend some time learning about Gettysburg and our men's basketball program.
Definitely, and we appreciate you for many reasons. One, for staying up late with us tonight. Two, for continuing the trend of head coaches with a very strong beard game. Appreciate that very much as a fellow bearder myself. But all jokes aside, Coach, you have a very interesting coaching story. You and I have known each other since way back in the day, Babson basketball camp. I was a little dude. You were coaching, playing at the time, and it's been really amazing to follow your journey. So for some people that might be unfamiliar with you and a little bit about your background. Tell us about kind of your coaching journey and what kind of brought you to Gettysburg.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe the best basketball camp in the country is at Babson, just because of the food, the chicken nuggets, and the
Yes.
yeah. So my journey. I'm originally from the Boston area. I grew up 30 minutes outside the city. I joke with my guys all the time that I played in the best basketball conference in the nation for high school. In the NEPSAC, I got a lot of Jersey boys and DC guys that will like to argue with me. When you've covered a bunch of NBA guys, there's a different conversation there. I was really fortunate that I played college basketball at Bates College in the NESCAC. So Coach Strahorn was just on the call. That's a major rivalry, the Colby-Bates rivalry. That thing is real. I remember getting police escorts when we would go up to Waterville, Maine, to campus. I had an unfortunate injury my sophomore year. I never really fully recovered from that. In my senior year, I moved into a student assistant role, and I really enjoyed that and the process of building relationships, uber competitive, what went into a game plan, what practice looked like, what skill development looked like. And that was kind of all, coupled with spending the summer prior to my senior year of college interning for the Maine Red Claws in the G League and doing more front office work and kind of seeing if, do I want to work in, for professional basketball? Do I want to be in the front office, or do I really like being on the court? The development and relationship piece. And ultimately, the coaching won out. And, I've had a really, I'm really grateful and appreciative of the journey that I've had so far to get to this point at Gettysburg. And when I graduated, I spent a year actually working for Stephen Brennan at Babson College, and was really fortunate to have an opportunity to work for him. And he ended up being a National Coach of the Year winner a couple of years ago, won a national championship. And I was part of that staff that recruited that first group of guys that took them to the Final Four, and then a Jocelyn's Trophy finalist. And the year after that, I worked at Emerson College for Jim O'Brien, who was a 1999 National Coach of the Year winner. So I'm really fortunate that my first 2 years as an assistant, I had opportunities to work for two guys who, were the best deemed by their peers, at the highest level. And I then spent 6 years at Vassar College in New York, competed in the Liberty League, and I spent 5 as the head coach at Vassar. And when I, inherited the program had won 31 games in the previous 5 years. It had only been to 2 conference tournaments in 42 years. So there wasn't a ton of basketball tradition or prior success. But I felt like, with the right type of enthusiasm and energy, we could do something special. And in those 5 years, we went to 3 conference tournaments. We played in the conference championship my first year, lost in double overtime at the buzzer. I set a program record for wins in a season, conference wins in a season. We went to 2 other conference semifinals. Was fortunate to develop 5 players that are in the top 10 all time and career scoring average in that program. And, really felt like we left the program in a better place and moved the needle and made it more respectable and competitive. And when the Gettysburg job opened up, it was an opportunity that, I felt like I couldn't pass up. My wife is an alum. She had an incredible experience, and it's just been a really special place the past 2 years to be part of this community, to be Gettysburg Bullets together, to start our family here and really build something special, we call the battlefield. And, the program has been to 5 NCAA tournaments. Previous was 11 years ago. We feel like we have the resources to be able to compete on a national level. So it's been that's kind of been my journey. And that kind of takes me here, connecting again with you, Matt, and West Coast Elite.
Yeah, no, and you've also had a variety of really cool experiences outside of college coaching as well. You've coached Maccabi games in Berlin. You've coached most recently this past year in the basketball tournament, which a lot of us were watching during our quarantine. We were just, fiending to find some hoops on TV. And so you were, in those experiences, you were named a 30 under 30 as being one of the top young coaches in America. So clearly you've been in part of a great coaching tree, and you brought a lot of those experiences along with you to kind of start building your program at Gettysburg. So tell us a little bit more about the school and about the basketball program. I think you have a little presentation that you wanted to share with us.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. It's fired up.
Yeah, so I can All right. Perfect. So I can kind of take you guys through this a little bit so everyone can learn a little more about the college and our men's basketball program. Just kind of, we had just finished our second year as a coaching staff. So everyone can just kind of learn a little more about, our season in review. I inherited a program, again, that had been to 5 NCAA tournaments, but in the past 7 years it had 5 losing seasons. But we felt like, again, the resources are right. We can compete on a national level. The college itself has won over 110 Centennial Conference championships. We've had multiple programs play in NCAA tournaments. We have, our women's lacrosse program has won 2 of the last 3 national championships, so it can be done here. This past season with the same players from a year ago that have won 6 games, we doubled our win total for the most wins in 4 years. We had the best non-conference record in 11 years. We swept our rival, Franklin and Marshall, for the first time in 11 years. We had the highest scoring average in 12 years. We had the #1 defensive rebound average in program history. We really like to shoot that thing, shooting threes. I heard you guys talking about California's got the best shooters, so we got to build that bridge as well. It's a back-to-back record for three-point field goal makes. And something that we really pride ourselves on as a staff, at the Division III level, you really have to have intrinsically motivated guys who are going to do the work from March to October. That's when you win a championship and hang a banner. But it's on us as a coaching staff to kind of lay that foundation and give them a blueprint for some type of skill development. And with the same players a year ago, we were 365th in the nation in three-point field goal percentage. And with those same players this year, we finished top 25 in the nation.
Wow.
And I credit our guys for really putting in that work and really buying into what we were doing. A lot of that's more just like on the mental confidence side, showing them film, seeing that thing go in. But those are just some things we like to highlight from this past season. And we're really excited for where our program is heading. This right here kind of just talks about, I know there's a lot of prospective student athletes on this call, and everyone always wants to know, well, what do coaches really look for? And, outside of, skill set and talent, that's going to be really important. The #1 team in the nation is in our conference. The #6 team in the nation is in our conference. And we were tied with the #1 team with 2 minutes to go. We lost the #6 team twice by 6. It was a close game, came down to free throws at the end. Like, we're right there, within year 2. But if we're really going to make that next step for us, these characteristics are going to be, the traits of the guys that we're going to yield, that are going to be in our locker room. And, the biggest one for us is be where your feet are. And, we're looking for guys who love the work. And it's really easy to love it when it's you've won 5 in a row, or you just beat a rival, or you just had 20. But we're looking for the guys who are going to love it at 6:30 in the morning when we're on the turf in the fall and the season doesn't start a month and a half from now. We're running sprints, or maybe we've lost 2 games in a row and it's cold outside and there's a little bit of snow, because there is going to be a little bit of snow in Pennsylvania, and you got to walk from your dorm to the gym. We're looking for those guys who can channel their love when it's at its best, when maybe we're finding hitting some adversity. And then that second one, we really want the guys who want to embrace the chase with us. And when you walk into our gym, the last banner that was hung was 11 years ago. We want guys to be okay with that, because they're confident enough that when they graduate in those 4 years and they come back, there's going to be more banners that are going to be up on the wall. And we're looking for the guys who have that mentality, that are confident in their ability, that when we ask them what they can bring to the table for us, they tell us it's a championship. And ultimately, we want guys who want to dance. We want to climb a ladder. We want to cut down the nets. Teams at Gettysburg are doing it. Our conference this year was, if not the best, one of the best in the nation. So we feel like, we can, certainly compete with anybody, and we want to play in the tournament. But, we're looking for guys who are servant leaders, who are disciplined, gritty, tough. But more importantly, they want to be at Gettysburg because they really believe in everything that we can offer them. And, this next video kind of highlights a little bit of campus. It's going to have some of our Princeton rankings. It's going to show you some of our facilities. It's just a 3-minute video. But we like to show this so just everybody can kind of get an idea of, what our campus is all about. We're located in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. We're right on the battlefield. Major history surrounds us every single day. Actually, one of our buildings on campus served as an infirmary during the Civil War. It's a really, really impressive place when you really dive into it. Our financial aid is 10th in the country. Our food is 11. It's absolutely unbelievable. The cookies are just out of the world. It's rivals the Baps and Nuggets. Our athletic facilities are ranked top 20, and other facilities on that list are SEC schools. This is our locker room that only men's basketball has access to. Our guys can use this year round. Our women's program has a similar setup, but we have a lounge area with a flat screen TV. Our guys bring in video games. They can do homework in here. It's actually being finished tomorrow, which our guys don't know yet, so they're in for a treat when they come back to campus. We have a kitchen, so we also have a place to eat in our facility, our athletic facility, that our guys can store in the fridge before or after practice. Everybody gets their own wooden locker. We have a 70-inch Cuomo board that's basically like an Android tablet where we watch film, do scouting reports on. And this video doesn't do it justice what it really looks like, but you don't really see this too often at the Division III level. We're really fortunate that we have a really strong alumni base that really wanted to help elevate our program. That was put in 2 years ago, right before I arrived. These next clips kind of show you some of the gear and the goodies that our guys get. We're sponsored by Under Armour. Just so you guys can kind of get a sense for, our facility, our style of play. Our guys have a genuine love for each other. They're excited. They're going to be up. We want to dictate the pace. We want defenses to have to adjust to us and play on their heels. We play with a ton of space on the court. Allows us to have open cuts by, alleviating some of the rim pressure there. These next couple of clips are on a 19-0 run against their Sinus. But again, just a ton of space. We really share the basketball. Our guys, we play really efficiently. We want our guys to run with a sense of discipline, play with some urgency. We attack closeouts. You saw Nick Antolini right there attacking that bottom foot. Getting into the paint, we feel like we're great when we can get in that paint, shoot that thing with confidence. Like if you're in range, you're going to let it fly. I think that's part of the reason why we had such a high three-point field goal percentage this year. Like our guys knew from the coaching staff down, like if you can make that shot, like you better shoot it. Just making that extra pass, sharing it. I'm sure all the Cali guys on this call, their eyes are lighting up right now because they're seeing that thing go in, seeing a lot of three-point field goal attempts. But again, playing with some space, pulling pressure away from the rim, engaging that corner defender, easiest shot in the game. Little shallow cut, back door, getting a dunk. Elijah was a freshman for us this year. Space you out, play off the move, step in, let that thing fly. So just so you guys can get a sense of, our campus, what our facilities look like, a little bit of our style, and then just, where we're located. In terms of in the conference, our furthest travel is 2.5 hours, which are typically on Saturdays. So our guys rarely miss a class on Wednesday. You're here to be a student first. We're an hour from Baltimore, a little more than an hour to DC, 2.5 to Philly. There's a lot of opportunities for jobs and internships. A lot of our alumni are in those areas as well. Just some numbers so you guys can see, because obviously, you're not just making a 4-year decision, you're going to make a 40-year decision. We're a top 40 liberal arts college that does an incredible job of paying you back. And just, some of the salary comparisons that Gettysburg has a higher potential than you guys can just see on here. And, we do a really phenomenal job, I think, with our curriculum. It's not just the academic piece. The leadership is a major component, obviously, where we're located. That's going to kind of seep into the college's personality. But I think, our students are really well prepared and well versed to take on life after Gettysburg. So on the right is some of our Princeton Review rankings, which are really impressive. To the left are just some kind of numbers, again, that we like to highlight and share. We're top 40 liberal arts college. 98% of our graduates within a year are enrolled in graduate school or are employed within a year of graduation. 80% of our students do some type of internship during their 4 years. College Rank has ranked our alumni network 3rd in the nation behind Stanford and Colgate. So it's really great company to be in. Again, my wife is an alum. I've been at tons of Gettysburg weddings. I've met a ton of Gettysburg people. They will tell you that this is the greatest place in the world. And their alumni base is incredibly strong. They continue to give back, and not just in a monetary sense. I think that really highlights the strength of an alumni network is, obviously there's going to be a level of fundraising. But when your alumni are, concerned with the current students on campus, when they want to provide mentorship, networking advice, how to write a resume, how to write a cover letter. We have alum, check in with our guys, send emails, call at the office. Like, I think that really goes to show you the type of community support and the type of experience that our students have during their 4 years here. This just highlights where some of our recent graduates have gone on to graduate programs and their employers. It's a really impressive list. What we really like to highlight is the type of students that are attracted to Gettysburg. Almost 90% of the students that graduated served in some type of leadership role. Almost 90% participated in community service. Almost 80 did an internship. And then your relationships with your professors are top notch. More than half of our student body does some type of research with their faculty throughout their 4 years. So this is how we as a coaching staff prepare our students for success off the court. We utilize our Center for Career Engagement. This past year, they recently created student athlete specific modules that helped our student athletes highlight the skill sets that they possess when they're going through the resume, cover letter writing, interview process. All of our guys have a LinkedIn profile. We also have a Gettysburg Connect page that is like a combination of Facebook and LinkedIn. We're one of 3 colleges in the country that has a leadership center on campus that provides extra programming and resources and events for our students to, better develop their leadership skills. And then this past year, we just started our student athlete well-being pilot that I'm fortunate enough to help lead. And it provides resources and programming for our student athletes to be successful off the court. We do a lot of academic monitoring with our guys. We don't really have any issues with them in the classroom. This past semester, we actually had 8 guys above a 3.8. It was really impressive considering, they all went virtual and dealing with the adversity of being, home. Technology, all of our guys are outfitted with a Whoop watch. Tennessee actually just outfitted their entire athletic department. We were the first Division III program this past year to outfit our team with a Whoop watch. It's a lifestyle band. It tracks our guys' sleep. It tracks their workouts. And it's an incredible tool for our guys to recognize, what they, do and how they recover their body and treat their bodies can impact winning. Team Synced is an app that all of our guys have on their phone that houses all of their class schedules to keep them organized, but also our basketball schedules. And then Just Play is a digital playbook. It's an automated, scout service and playbook. So, everybody learns differently. So some of our guys are great on the court, some are great in the film room, and other guys just want to go, look at it on their phones when they get back to their dorms in bed. So we try and meet our guys at every level. We do a lot of, leadership meetings with our groups, participate in community service activities. And what I'll do is I can actually throw a link to this, Matt, in the group chat. So if people want to look at this later, they can absolutely do that, because I'm being conscious of the time. So I'm just kind of trying to rifle through this right now.
Yeah, that'd be great, BJ.
And this also just kind of has what some of our alumni are doing, but I'll just kind of keep moving. These are just some photos of our guys from Italy 2 years ago. I actually got hired May 1st and May 10th. I was on an airplane with a bunch of guys that I didn't know and they didn't know me, and we were going to Italy to play 4 games and tour the country. So not a bad signing bonus, I guess. But it's been part of the program's tradition. It's something that we want to continue to honor as a new coaching staff. So we're hopeful that obviously the world is in a pandemic currently, but hopefully in the next couple of years we'll be able to get our guys back on an airplane and have a really great cultural experience like we had in Italy. This just highlights our the Centennial Conference, the conference that we compete in. Again, if not the best, it was one of the best basketball conferences this year. Number 1 team, number 6 team in the nation were in our league. Incredible players. The coaches at these institutions are really, really great and sharp. The conference has been to 5 Final Fours, 10 Elite Eights. We're really excited just about the direction that it's going. It's a battle. Every game, we play everybody twice. We're unique in that. We play 18 conference games, so you get to know your opponents really, really well. And again, if you haven't watched any Centennial Conference basketball, highly recommend doing it. The skill set of these players is really impressive. Just so you guys can see some of our Buller basketball tradition. We talked about the NCAA tournament appearances, the Centennial Conference championships. Nick Antolini just graduated for us. He became our 26,000-point scorer. We've had 4 players play professionally, all complete their MBAs at the Dublin Business School. And then kind of transitioning more to what we like to do, X's and O's wise, and defensively, we're a pack line style team. We like to force contested twos. We like to make our opponents as uncomfortable as possible on this end of the floor. And we're a no baseline team, but that doesn't mean that we force middle. It just means we try and level you off. We believe that if someone goes baseline, there's just a lot of rotations, and then the offense is won. So we try and really stop that first fire, level you off. We want to stunt to touch, make you play and retreat. And again, we want to force as many contested twos as possible. But on this end of the floor, we really rely heavily on great communication. We're starting to get some more length in our lineup so we can switch a little more. We change our ball screen coverages. Everything is going to be predicated around scouts. We have some really bright guys, so we can change some things throughout the flow of the game. But we really want to use our defense as a launch pad to run. And when we take off, we're going to run with a sense of discipline. We're not one of those teams who's shooting in the first 10 seconds, but we do want to play, at an elite tempo. We want to have some urgency with everything that we do. And, when we're in the half court, we want everything to be fast. That's our cuts, getting in and out of screens. We want to arrive alone. But I think we do a really great job of creating as much space on the floor as possible. The game can be a war for space. And, we spend a lot of time teaching our guys, sprinting to the corners. When you do that, you're pulling the help defense with you. Maybe we, alleviate, we don't have a big rim run because we're trying to just leave the middle open for playmaking, capabilities and attacking the paint. We teach our guys, how to jab and pivot and, get someone out of your space so you can get a shot up or you can see a cutter or be able to create space by going by and, you see help and you make that one more pass and then that guy has more space to make a play. So we talk a lot about space. I think our guys, probably joke about it at times, but it definitely leads to a lot of success on the offensive end of the floor. And, we want to value the ball. We share it. And, something that we pride ourselves on as a team is, we want to hunt great for each other, and we want our guys to be really connected on that end of the floor to really understand where each other's competencies are, where their strengths are. It's important that the coaches know, but at the end of the day, we're not on the court, in the heat of the moment when you're at the other end, I'm not telling you that, so-and-so likes to, catch and shoot from the corner or, he's really good in a blur screen and he's going to pick and pop there. You got, our guys need to recognize that. We spend a lot of time talking about it. So just, I'm kind of flying through this, but I just, want to make sure that we're able to disseminate this information to you all on the call. But, this is our vision for our program. And if you're looking for a program that's going to pride itself on development, I think we'd be a really great fit. And for us, it's all about development of our people and our leaders and our players and our teams. And we feel like that's the right process for us to go cut down nets. Something that we really focus on the day-to-day with our guys. I think there's a lot of variables that can influence the outcome of a season. I'll never forget after my first year, we won 19 games, losing a conference championship in double overtime. And, our best player tears his MCL. He averaged over 20 a game as a sophomore, was an all-region player. He's out for the year. Our best freshman breaks his thumb. He's out for the whole first semester. Our starting two guard had a slip disc in his back. Our starting point guard tore a tendon in his right wrist and shot 53% from three the year before. And then our starting center had 3 concussions and was done. We just went from 19 wins a year ago to just trying to get by, and I was practicing. And when you focus on just the outcome and the result, there's so many variables like that can influence it. So, we really focus on the day-to-day. So for us, we want our guys to put the team first, leave every day saying, did I give everything for my teammates? Did I make us better? Did we beat yesterday? Did we have continuous improvement? Like, did we bring the juice? Was practice fun? Was there good energy? Was there positive energy? Did we come to compete? If we come to compete, we're focusing on the little things, the details that add up, that make those big moments really matter. And are we making every play count? And then we really want our guys to appreciate the journey. I think at the end of the day, that's the ultimate reward. And, that window of being a college athlete is really small. And we want our guys to enjoy all those little moments that they have with each other. And again, just be contagious with that energy. And then lastly, these are just our standards. This is what you're going to expect from us. We're really transparent with everything that we do. It starts in the recruiting process. We want our guys to come in, knowing exactly what we're asking of them. So we're going to ask our guys to arrive early. We're going to ask you to communicate. Sharing of critical information is really, really important for us. That's the only way to be successful. You have to do simple things with elite discipline, diving on the floor for loose balls, just being down in the stance, being shot ready. We want to finish strong in everything that we do. We're going to trust and help each other, and then we expect our guys, they hold themselves and each other accountable to that. So, that's I guess in a blur, that's Gettysburg, College and our basketball program. But again, we're really excited about what we have, and we think we're on the right track to build something special here.
I appreciate
Coach, I'm sold. Sold.
And I can. How do I stop sharing here so I can hop back in? If you guys want.
Scroll up to the top. There should be something that says stop screen share. Maybe a red button.
Oh yeah, there you go. Awesome.
Under Armour, great facilities, great academics. What is there not to like? It's sign me up right now. My only real question, one of my main questions for you was, I know you were an AAU founder program director.
Yeah.
How did that experience kind of transition you into the college recruitment? And what kind of perspective did you have from doing that?
Yeah. So when I graduated and I was working at Babson and Emerson, I was like really, really part-time. So I was hustling just to try and make things meet. And, I wanted just more coaching experience. So, I was really lucky that, I was able to coach 2 17, U teams in those 2 years that ended up going to nationals and having college guys. So it was really great in its own way of, I think, preparing me just to help me find my voice, play around with some skill development stuff, help me build relationships at the college level with other coaches that were recruiting our guys. But again, just like, it was really just like enjoyable going through that process with, the guys that I coached. I actually, one of the players I actually coached in the TBT in July, which is pretty crazy that we hadn't been together for 8 years. And, you talk about connections and everything just kind of comes back full circle. So, I would say that was just, that was a really just great experience for me, kind of finding my voice, having an opportunity to run your own program, play around with stuff, build relationships. And, it was just kind of a side hustle too.
I get it. I have one more kind of mini question for you. You had an international kid from Luxembourg on your team. My family's actually from Luxembourg.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of really random. But how did that happen?
So I actually inherited that he was on the roster when I got here. So he's actually incredibly impressive. He had an internship with Amazon last year, and he had an internship lined up with the NBA this year. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, he wasn't invited to the bubble. But he'll have that. They're going to honor that internship next year. But we actually have a really strong international presence at Gettysburg. We have a player on our roster from Luxembourg, like you just noted, Nigeria. We have a freshman coming in from Italy, and we also have a freshman coming in from Australia. So that's kind of another avenue that we're really trying to strike in recruiting is international. Unfortunately, our international guys have to take online classes this first semester because with the travel ban, but they'll be back second semester with the team.
That's awesome.
Coach BJ, I know it's really late on the East Coast, and we really appreciate you. And I also know you had a phenomenal presentation that you had kind of tried to summarize for us as best as possible. So I definitely want to make sure either you can throw it in the chat or you can email it to me and Scott, and we can also try to spread the word for you when we follow up. It looks like perfect. Just threw it in there. So if anybody wants to look more in depth into that, please take a look. click on that link. And then also, again, Coach Dunne's email address is down in the chat box. It's also on the website. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you guys and love to learn more. Again, I've had a great opportunity to get to know BJ for a long time now. And he's got a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience, and he's really, really passionate about what he does. So I think it's really important for everybody on this call. And, so the last minute or so that we have here, I know we kind of breezed through everything, but is there anything that you have that you wanted to talk about, before we wrap things up? Any advice or just anything for the guys and maybe some of the parents that may be on the call tonight?
Yeah, I think two things. I think with Gettysburg, it's an incredibly genuine, supportive, positive place. That athletics is a major personality of the college, which I think is really special and unique at the liberal arts level. It's, not just from a camaraderie, pride standpoint, but, they really understand the educational value, the well-being value, and what the coaches and what that experience can provide to our student athletes. And, secondly, I'll just say, tell, the student, the prospective student athletes on this call, what we're telling our guys, like, you got to be able to win the weight. Like, you're going to play basketball again at some point. I think it's really easy right now to be frustrated. I mean, I know I have difficult days where, man, I just kind of play video games for a whole day. I'm not that old, so I still play. I got Xbox 360 though, so my guys joke with me about that. But there's definitely days where you're like, man, like this is tough. Like, it's kind of Groundhog Day, but you have to be able to win the weight when this is an opportunity. Adversity, either is going to make you stronger, or some people are just going to kind of fall off, and you have to make a decision. Who are you going to be? How disciplined are you? What skill set are you going to bring to the table when you guys come back to play? And just get creative, find other ways to do things. Like, you don't have access to a gym, we'll do a body weight workout. Like, you don't have a hoop, well, like, work on your form, like, while you're lying down. Or, hey, like, you might not be able to get in the gym, well, there's plenty of basketball on TV, like, study it. So it's an opportunity to find the avenue, that the opportunity will present itself, the right avenue for you. So I appreciate you guys having me on the call tonight. It is late, so I got to hit the sheets, but, shoot me an email, shoot me a note. Always, willing to, feel free to respond. So I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Talk to you soon and stay safe.
All right. See you.
We're really, really excited to introduce to you guys our third and final speaker of the evening, coming to us from the great state of Nebraska. Coach Dale Wellman, welcome to Tuesday Night Talks.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it. This is really nice.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you on. I know you and I spoke at length a couple days ago. And so got to learn a little bit about you. And so for the people that are on the call that might be unfamiliar as well, please give us a little bit of background about kind of your journey and kind of what brought you to Nebraska Wesleyan.
Yeah, well, it's I feel like anything about me is pretty boring, but I'll try to be brief for the people on the call. I'm originally from Lexington, Kentucky. So I went to college, played basketball at the University of South in Swanee, Tennessee, Division III school down there, and had some great teams. Not because of me, more in spite of me. We were able to have a good time and get some wins, and graduated and was going to go to grad school to be an architectural historian, but really just missed basketball and needed that in my life. And got back into it. Talked to my college coach and kind of told me what to do, and hooked up with Dave Kunke, who was the head coach at Kenyon College at the time. This was way back, 2002. And, I was at Kenyon College as an assistant, then moved to Union College in Schenectady. I was really a Division III guy. That's what I've always kind of seen myself as. But kind of took a left turn and had the opportunity to work for Travis Ford at Eastern Kentucky University. My dad was a professor there. So I'd always worked camps and kind of got to know that staff a little bit. And had a great year with Travis. We went to the NCAA tournament. He ended up getting a job at UMass, and I stayed around and worked for Jeff Neubauer at Eastern Kentucky. And it was great. I mean, a lot of what we do offensively, kind of my mindset and the way I'm wired is very similar to Neubauer. So it was great. But wanted to be a Division III head coach, and had the opportunity to move to Williams College, which I thought would be a good move for me in terms of trying to become a head Division III coach and work for Dave Paulson for a couple of years. And was fortunate enough to get the job out at Alfred University in Western New York. And it was a perfect time for me to get it. They were coming off a 2-23 season, and it was my job to build. So fortunately, I was able to get some good guys and did that. And I'd always kind of had my eye on Nebraska Wesleyan, which seems really, really weird. For a guy from Kentucky that had, was coaching in New York. But I'd been to Lincoln. It reminded me a lot of Lexington, Kentucky. And fortunately, when the job opened up, just being familiar with Division III basketball, I think really helped me, because we're the only Division III school in the state of Nebraska. And when you look above us to South Dakota and below us to Kansas, that there's no other Division III. So a lot of people who were interested didn't quite understand the nuances of Division III basketball. And fortunately, I got the job and love Lincoln. It's been great. It's been a great experience for myself and my family. And fortunately, we've had some success. We've been able to recruit some good players. And, last 6 years has kind of flown by, but it's been a lot of fun. And like I said, fortunately, I've done pretty well.
Yeah, so, you touched on it very modestly, some of your success. National championship. That's a huge deal, Coach. That's I don't think we've had any national champions on our show in the 13 weeks. So please tell us a little bit about that. What was that experience like, for you guys going all the way and taking home, winning the last game of the season?
Yeah, it was it was obviously an unbelievable year, not just the run in the NCAA tournament. All stars, is interesting. Going into the year, we had a player named Nate Shimonitz on our team. And the year before, as a freshman, he had led us in scoring. Next year, our exhibition game with 1.7 seconds to go, he was getting out of the way and tore his MCL. And we missed him for the whole first semester. And I thought we were going to have a good team that year. Then he came back after the new year and was a little rusty. And right when he started getting to be the Nate Shimonitz we had seen the year before, and even the Nate Shimonitz we saw in practice in that exhibition, everything was clicking. I felt like the best thing for me to do was almost get out of the way at that point and let the guys play, because it was just clicking on all cylinders. It was a perfect storm, and our guys had unbelievable confidence in themselves and their teammates. So once the NCAA tournament hit, it was a lot of fun, and we had the opportunity, obviously, to travel all over the country. We didn't have a single home game in the NCAA tournament, and our guys, we went into that tournament. We were 24-3, and we weren't in the top 25. We had gotten no respect, in terms of the national poll all year. So our guys really were playing with a chip on their shoulder and took that in, and it was really nice for those guys to go through and win a national championship. Obviously, it's an amazing experience. It's great for the guys. I don't think I completely understood what it would mean, not just for me, but for the campus and the community. And it happens so quickly. You win, you're on the court, you're off the court, but you realize it doesn't end there. It continues back on campus and back in Lincoln, back to the alumni that you see, during the summer, and it just continues. And it was obviously really special for everybody on the team.
Yeah, no question. It's amazing. I mean, incredible at any level to win a championship, high school, college, professional. Obviously, it takes a ton of work, and credit to you, and obviously credit to the players that you were able to bring in there. And now tell us a little bit about, you touched on kind of Lincoln, and just tell us about the school and the environment kind of for your students there at NWU.
Yeah, sure. So, it's an unbelievable place. I mean, Nebraska Wesleyan is, and it's had a great history. I feel like we really go under the radar a lot, and I'm very aware that Nebraska is looked at as a flyover state for a lot of people in the country. But it's a beautiful city. It's a great city. It's a great college town, and it's a lot of that's because the University of Nebraska is right here in Lincoln, and our students and our student athletes reap the benefits of that. I think a really special thing about Lincoln is, this is a true college town. The pro sports aren't huge here. It all revolves around college, and we understand that it starts with the University of Nebraska, but it filters down to the small colleges. So our guys, kind of get that. I think they take a lot of things for granted when it comes to basketball, because we do have a beat writer for the Lincoln Journal-Star that sits at the, scores table, and interviews all our guys. Our home games are not just online. Everybody's games are online nowadays, but they're played, we have cameras, and they're played on local access channels, so you can sit at home and watch those games. It's just kind of a perfect storm. It's a really nice place to be. And I think our guys take some of that, for granted, thinking it's like that at all small colleges, all Division III schools across the country, but it's not. It's just a great setup, which is why I like coaching here, because basketball, obviously you're here for an education, but basketball is very meaningful for the campus community and the alumni, and to a smaller extent the city of Lincoln. They obviously have the Huskers here, but like I said, fortunately we've had some success, and it's been good for the community as well.
Well, you mentioned Nebraska being maybe thought of as a flyover state, but probably the only reason people are going to be flying over there now is because they don't want to play you guys, because you guys have been having a ton of success lately, and I don't think anybody wants any business with you guys. But I'm going to throw it over to oh, yeah, you want it? Yeah, please, go ahead.
Yeah, everybody else had a really nice background. I figured I might as well do it up. Get a little background, and I'll show some stuff here too to kind of back up what I'm talking about a little bit. Some people are good at listening. Some good, some learn things by visuals. So we'll throw some numbers and some stuff up there on the screen as well.
Great. Yeah. No. Feel free if you want to run through the presentation, Coach. I'm more than happy to. If you want to have Scotty ask you some questions, whatever you'd like to do.
Well, I'll knock it out real quick. It won't take the whole time, and then I'd love to be able to answer some questions, because I'm sure I'll forget a few things as we kind of go through this presentation a little bit. I think when you talk about Nebraska Wesleyan basketball, one of the things that we really try to sell to recruits, over the last 3 years, no one else can say this, we're the winningest team in the country. We have the highest winning percentage in the country over the last 3 years. We're 82-9. We're 30-3 when we won the national championship. Next year we're 27-2, and this past year we're 25-4. So it's been a great run. We've been fortunate to get really, really good kids. I think we're in a good place, and I can talk about that later on why I think we can get some kids that don't just compete on the regional conference level, but help us compete on the national level. But even if you expand that over 4 years, so the class that just graduated, had 100 wins, averaging 25 wins a year. 4 regular season championships, 3 conference championships in a row, obviously the national championship. We've had 18 double-digit scores, 4 straight conference players of the year. Actually, we were in a different conference 5 years ago. We've actually had 5 straight conference players of the year. And 2 first-team All-Americans, the last 2 years. Nate Shimonitz this past year, and Ryan Garber the year before. When you do talk about our program a little bit, I'm very much an offensive guy. That's just the way that I am wired. And we've been fortunate under me here to average 92.4 points per game. A lot of coaches will say, hey, we play fast. A lot of it's in the numbers. And, we like to think we're able to put up some numbers. We're not averaging 100 points or anything like that, but 92.4 I think is pretty good. And we do that. We don't press, so it's not one of those things where we force tempo. I think one of the reasons that we average as much as we do, and we try to go 2-tempo and push the ball in transition and score in transition. But if not, we're going to pull it out, run our offense. But a lot of times we'll score in 2 or 3 passes. Is we've just been really efficient. Again, I'm wired to look at the game offensively. Probably about 75 to 80% of our practice is offense. Is all the little details within our system, the spacing, so that these guys can run our system, in their sleep. And fortunately, we've had guys that have, been able to execute and scored a very efficient rate over the past 2 or 3 years. I kind of talked about people don't talk about Nebraska Wesleyan basketball a lot, and I'm fine with that. Again, I think the proof's in the numbers a little bit. We have been to 5 Final Fours, which I think out of the 425 or so Division III schools, it puts us 6th out of all those schools in terms of Final Fours. We just hadn't been to any since 1997 when we went back in 2018. So that was that's something we obviously try to sell to our kids too. Is it's an opportunity to not just compete regionally or within the conference, but to compete at a national level and do something special. I should have said one thing too. I think this picture, I don't have any pictures of our facilities other than this one right here. I think you can get a good idea of, our crowd right here in our student section down in the other baseline. I think we were 12th in the country last year in attendance, which I actually had my assistants. It's nice to have assistants to do these things. Looked up, and that was better than 29 Division I programs and 233 Division II programs. So, our program is supported not just by the administration here, but by the students and by the campus community and the city of Lincoln. And our guys have the opportunity to play in front of some, pretty good small college basketball, fans. Now, it's not all obviously just about basketball. I think when you talk about Division III athletics, you obviously have to talk about the academics. And look, I know that Nebraska Wesleyan, we're not Princeton, we're not Harvard, we're not Yale when it comes to some of those academic rigors or admission standards or whatever. But we're trying to be the best, national liberal arts school here in the Great Plains area. And we've been fortunate to get really good student athletes. This is academic All-Americans, all four-year schools in the country, Division I, Division II, Division III, and AIA. We're 7th. And I think it speaks to the culture of the school a little bit, to take care of business academically. I think people are always surprised when they see Nebraska Wesleyan. I'm not, because I know kind of our niche in recruiting the school, not just the program. I think 7 of the last 9 years, men's basketball has had an academic All-American on our team. Along with that, Cooper Cook in 2018, he won the Elite 90 award at the Final Four for highest GPA. And he was also the Google Cloud Academic All-American of the Year for all of Division III athletics, not just men's basketball, but all of Division III athletics. We've also had a Jostens Award winner, which obviously you have to be a really good player, but in 2016, Trey Barsley won the Jostens Award, which basically is the best kind of student athlete Division III basketball player in the country. So we're really proud of the academic side and what our student athletes are able to accomplish, as well as what we're just able to accomplish as a basketball program. And then, we try to sell the basketball program. We try to sell the academics of the school, but we also really try to sell Lincoln. We understand the 3 kind of big areas are academics, athletics, and the social side of college. And that doesn't just mean Friday or Saturday nights or whatever. It could be a Tuesday, when we don't have practice and you don't have any homework. What are you going to do? And I think Lincoln is that perfect college town. No matter what your interest is, it can be whatever. We have it here. I think a lot of people think they hear Nebraska that aren't from around here, and they'll think, cornfields, flat. Don't get me wrong, it's flat. You can see that bottom picture. But you don't see any cornfields in that picture. It's a fun town. It's a really nice town, and has a really vibrant kind of downtown area because the town does cater to that 18, 19, 20-year-old crowd because they have so many students in town. And just a picture of the rail yard area downtown, which is new. It's only about 7 or 8 years old. And we're also the capital, which I think's, in terms of being an academic institution, it's kind of nice to be in a town where they're able to talk about politics, you're able to talk about different things that go on in a capital city. You can see the quote there is by Microsoft CEO about Silicon Prairie. Lincoln is really, it's not the only town in Silicon Prairie, but it has really grown a lot in that realm, and a lot of it has to do. The one thing we always throw out to recruits is everyone's heard of Huddle. Everyone's heard of Huddle. Huddle was founded by a guy from Lincoln and is headquartered downtown, right in the rail yard, right next to actually these buildings. Is a really nice, huge, big building that Huddle built. And then, for those kind of in this area and they're familiar with some of the schools, we've had just success around here, and we want to continue to bring in student athletes that can help that. We're trying to stay at that level, and it's difficult, but that's what we're trying to do. Ready to answer any questions? Now I'm ready to go. That's
awesome.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm going to let Scotty jump right in there and ask away.
Coach, can you tell us about your conference?
Yeah, so we're the American Rivers Conference. It was for, I think, since 1922. It was the Iowa Intercollegiate Athletic Conference until we joined in 2016 and basically ruined the name. And all other 8 schools in the conference are in Iowa. We're the only school that's in Nebraska. And it is a tremendous basketball conference. We've had, as a conference, even if you take away what we've done, we've had a lot of success in the NCAA tournament the past few years. Loras has been really good. Wartburg made a nice run. If you look at the Massey ratings, we're always, top 5 or 6 conference in the country. It's the perfect place for us. The coaches are great, competition's great, and it's been a really, really good conference. I think the tricky thing for us is that non-conference, because I did say we were the only Nebraska Division III school. We want to make sure that we're obviously playing good teams to help out our strength of schedule. So maybe we can get an at-large bid if we don't get an automatic bid to the tournament. But we have the opportunity to travel around a little bit. Some people might see that as a negative. I think our guys really see it as a positive. I mean, we played everywhere from Wyoming to South Carolina last year, and we played in Chicago and Texas. And we'll see where we play this year. I don't know. No one really knows, I guess, how much we're going to be able to travel. But to be able to see the country on somebody else's dime at this age, I think it's really cool. It's a really nice part of our program.
How about our initiative to get some West Coast players?
I'm glad you asked me about that. So it's actually a really good time. If you look at our roster past few years, it's been 3 states. It's been Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas. That's been our bread and butter. It's been good to us. We understand those states, and we've done it. Now, what admissions has done is and it has nothing to do with athletics. They did it as an enrollment initiative for everyone. Is they're looking at bringing in kids from California, Arizona, Utah, Nevada, more Colorado. So they've started this initiative where students who meet certain GPA and ACT requirements, their tuition maxes out at $10,000. So when you're comparing that to other schools, maybe on the East Coast, where the tuition is $50,000, $60,000, ours is maxing out at 10. Regardless of what your family's financial situation is. And you fill out a FAFSA, I mean, you're paying $4,500 in room and board every year to come to school here. So that's not just for, obviously, athletes, that's for across the board. And it's been, so we're looking to try to take advantage of that, which is why I was really happy to get the text that Matt wanted to have me on here.
And Nebraska Wesleyan's a top 10 university in the Midwest and also a top 20 value school. What level of academics and what does it take to get in?
Well, I think in terms of what it takes to get in, it's really a holistic approach where they're looking at everything. And it's, I think a lot of schools are trending towards, looking that way. I'm not, for us, it's a little different. Some it's pretty black and white. For us, it takes looking at the transcript a little bit, seeing what classes, seeing which way they're trending. Obviously, we want over a 3.0. We want upper 20s on the ACT, but that doesn't eliminate people, with lower ACT scores than that, because they're looking at the entire package. And I think that's one thing that they really try to do lately.
I mean, 10 to 1 student to faculty ratio. I mean, there's some serious good signs for Nebraska Wesleyan, especially coming out on the West Coast and competing with those schools. How is the alumni network? How is have you built that out? I know I've heard it's a very strong connection.
Yeah, I think the really fun thing and what I've learned, I didn't expect this, but because there's been such a great basketball tradition here at Nebraska Wesleyan, but before I got here, they've been to, I think, 20 NCAA tournaments, and like I said, the 5 Final Fours. A lot of alums who went here had a great time because of that. So they really support the program. And while you can obviously get a degree and get a job anywhere in the country, and alums have, a lot of them do live in the Omaha, Lincoln, Kansas City area, and they're around all the time. I mean, we have alumni areas, at our games. There's 2 big alumni areas, kind of the younger alumni area and the older alumni area, guys come to the game every single day, or game day, and sit. And it's just been tremendous. So when somebody graduates, they've been able to talk and see those guys after games for 4 years. So that I think is really special, and that's something that wasn't necessarily the case. And again, it's kind of a perfect storm because there are so many alums that play basketball that have the great jobs here in Lincoln. Lincoln was a top 30 business town by Forbes magazine a couple years ago. We have a lot of business majors here. Omaha's only 45 minutes away. Between Omaha and Lincoln, that's about 1.3 million people. And you have to remember the state of Nebraska only has about 1.9 million people in it. So that's where a lot of the jobs are. And then Kansas City is a hop, skip, and a jump, and which is one reason we recruit that area a lot. But also a lot of alums end up going there and coming back and watching games.
That's awesome.
Coach, you talked about being very offensive minded and scoring a lot of points, and the way that you guys play your style. What are some things that you look for when you're out on the recruiting trail? Obviously, a lot of young people have been at home working on their game, probably practicing mostly offense, I would say. So what are some skills that you look for translating into kind of games when we are back on the court?
Yeah, I mean, as a lot of programs, we really like shooters. I mean, we run a former Princeton and really spread things out. And we want to make sure that we're able to shoot to keep that spacing available. And so we really like guys that can shoot. But, if you're not just a knockdown shooter or whatever, we still may look at you. If you can do something well, then we'll like you. If you're a really good passer, there's a place for you in our offense. If you're really good at getting to the rim, there's a place for you in our offense. We run Princeton, but we try to tweak it to fit our personnel each and every year. In 2016, in 30 games, we shot 1,100 threes. We ran the exact same offense this year, the exact same offense, and shot 780. We shot basically about the same percentage, but we had guys this year that could post up. A lot of our guards post up. We had guys that could get to the rim more than in 2016. So we took advantage of those things. So we're going to play within Princeton, whatever fits our system. It's interesting. So, Ryan Garber was an All-American for us 2 years ago in 2019. He was our shortest starter at about 6'3", and he was our 5-man. And he also led the country in assists at 7.7 a game because he could pass like no one I've ever seen. He was not known coming out of high school as a knockdown shooter, but he just did a little bit of everything, and I love the way he passed the ball. So we put him at, 5-man for us is basically like a second point guard. And, I mean, he just took it and ran with it and became an All-American because of it. So if you can do something well, I will say, because we do play fast, we do like guys that can move and run a little bit. That is one thing, someone who's fluid and runs, shoot the basketball a little bit. And I mean, positionless basketball is a buzzword nowadays. A lot of people say it. But we truly believe that. Like, in our offense, you learn all 5 positions. That's the way it is. I mean, if you watch our highlights, you'll see one guy playing the 5, and then next time down, he might be out on the perimeter. So you learn everything. So we do want guys that can play, positionless basketball.
Yeah, and Coach, you've had stops in lots of different parts of the country. You've coached in the state of New York. You've coached in Ohio. You've coached in Massachusetts, Kentucky. What is it about kind of moving around in your career that you've kind of brought with you to Nebraska Wesleyan and from some of your different stops? And, for some of the players that are on this call tonight, we have a lot of kids that are from the West Coast, different parts of the country. What is it about going to a school maybe in a different part of the country that you think is really appealing?
Well, I think one thing about going to a school in a different part of the country is, and when I was at Williams College, we didn't have a single kid on the team from Massachusetts. I think it's an opportunity for 4 years to experience something a little different. Those 4 years are obviously great years in terms of growth of a person. So step out of your comfort zone and go somewhere that is a college town. I mean, I think it would be great to be a college student in a true college town. And to kind of step out and do something different, see some place. It doesn't mean you have to live there your whole life, but if you can fall in love with the city as a college student and want to be there for 4 years, especially a town that really caters to that, that college age kid, I say do it. And we try to sell that all the time. We're nestled up in the northeast part of Lincoln. It's kind of quiet. It's not right downtown. So it's the best of both worlds. So you're not, disrupted by anything downtown or noise or anything like that. But, within 10 minutes, you have everything at your disposal. And that's really nice. In terms of the different places I've been, you move around as an assistant coach, and I think the thing I take from all spots is from the coaches that I work for. It's not necessarily the people or the cultures, but it was just learning from some. I've been very lucky to learn from some guys that have done some great things. I mean, Dave Paulson, I kind of try to every day approach the game and the team the same way he did, kind of try to have the same mentality. Neubauer was an offensive mind. I loved it. I loved hearing what he had to say about offense. Travis Ford was very much a defensive guy and a preparation guy and scouts, and learned a lot because I was on the low end of the totem pole then, so I had to do a lot of that stuff. And it was great in my development as a coach. Even Bob Montana, who doesn't coach anymore at Union College, I thought was just a great offensive mind. And it was, a lot of fun. And in Schenectady, I met my future wife too. So that's
a huge bonus. She wouldn't let you get off the call if you didn't mention that. So.
If anyone watches this and ever meets her, tell her I spoke about her. It'll go a long way. So I'll do anything.
Well, we're running low on time here, Coach. So wanted to bring you back in, and first of all, just really appreciate you sharing some information with us about the school and all your success. Again, I think for as crazy as it sounds, underrated almost, or maybe overlooked, and I think that kind of builds that chip on your shoulder to continue to have that success to the level that you have. And so with the last minute or so here, first of all, I wanted to thank you again for spending some time with us. But is there anything else that we didn't get a chance to cover that you wanted to kind of wrap things up with before we close things up for the evening?
Not really, other than just saying thank you again. Like I said, I think I've said the term perfect storm more tonight than I probably have in the past 2 years combined. But it's kind of a perfect storm in terms of having an opportunity to maybe speak to some kids from the West Coast. Where that's an area that we're trying to go, and because of some things that the school and administration are doing, just makes sense for us to go out there where it hadn't necessarily made sense to do that in the past. So I appreciate you doing this. It was great to kind of get to know you and talk about those things. And I'm kind of excited to see where this may go, these initiatives may go, and kind of this relationship that we've started a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah. And we're really hopeful to get to be back on the court soon and hopefully get to include you guys. I know I've been speaking to some of your assistant coaches about trying to get on the road and work some events on the West Coast. I think it's amazing what your school is trying to do to provide opportunities for especially kids here in California area and stuff like that to attend Nebraska Wesleyan. But I really appreciate you spending some time with us. Please stay safe. If there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. Otherwise, Coach's email is down below in the chat. I'm sure he'd love to hear from some of you guys that are on the call tonight. And we look forward to hopefully getting a chance to see you soon, back in the gym, back on the court. In the meantime, Coach, thank you for your time, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks. Stay safe, fellas.
Hey, Coach.